Welcome to the Pain Points Podcast. I'm your host, Christian, and today we are going to talk about the sales process. A few weeks ago, we had Chris Moore. We had the privilege of having Chris Moore from Elite Business Advisors on the podcast, and he was going through and explaining to us what some of the first systems that we should have together. If you have not caught that episode, just go back and listen to that one. He talks about having two different financial systems in place, having a sales system in place, and a few other systems in place for before running your business. But today, I kind of wanted to talk about the sales system specifically because this is something that I'm currently working on, and I feel like I'm having success in the measure that things are easier for me to track, things are easier for me to find. And I've implemented a few steps in my sales system. Being a one-man operation, time is critical for us, right? So finding ways to pre-qualify a client is of tremendous value. So let's get right into it. Typically, I'll field a phone call, or mostly I'm getting phone calls these days. Sometimes I'll get emails or a text message or a message on social media. But let's just say, for example, and you can adapt it from here. Let's just talk directly about getting a phone call from a client. So once I field the phone call, they ask me to identify myself. I identify myself. The pain professor, this is Christian. And, then we wind up having a conversation. They typically ask, do I do a specific type of project, or that they're looking for somebody to do a specific type of project. And I'll just listen. At this point, it's 2 ears, 1 mouth. Just listen to what they need. At the end of the day, in order for this to be a successful experience, this has to work for both parties, right? So I listen to what they're needing, and then I'll ask a few qualifying questions. A few discovery questions. So is the surface that we're painting, is it previously painted? Is this something that you're moving into? Or are you moving out of? And once again, we deal predominantly with residential repaints. So these are all great questions as far as, if it's a rental or if it's something that they're moving out of. That client is typically not going to want to go with a high-end finish done in a high-end manner, and they might just want a slap coat on it. They might have a turnaround time that they need it done. When were you thinking of having this project completed by? That's another great follow-up question. That way you're getting a sense of it. If they're talking about doing a new build or a renovation, and they're just lining up somebody now for a project that's going to be done 3 months from now, then me bragging about how I can get to them in 3 weeks, or if I had an opening next week, isn't going to do them any good. That's not a differentiator because it's not going to meet their schedule, and vice versa. If I'm 3 months out and they want something done next week and I can't get to it, then that's a very quick conversation, and I can go back to making money doing the thing that I do, right? So qualifying questions, and you can figure out some of those qualifying questions for yourself, what works for you based on whether or not you have subcontractors that you're running, or if you do have availability, making sure that you're pretty up to date with your schedule. One thing that I want to kind of have as a caveat is do what you say you're going to do. It's better to disappoint a client up front and over deliver, under promise and under deliver, than to promise them the world only to disappoint them because either you can't get to them or the price was wrong or whatever the case is. So a lot of times I'll have clients that, or I'll have leads that'll call in and they want the project completed next week or started next week. Well, sometimes I'm booked out or they're on a side of town that I'm not going to be on. I can't even do an estimate for them for 3 weeks. That's a very quick conversation when it comes to that. So so we've asked some qualifying questions, and then another good one that I found has been working lately is when the client claims that they've already had another painter look at it, or they're planning on getting multiple bids. As I'm trying to gather information from them, I'll sneak in a question somewhere along the lines of, well, what is it that you're looking for from a contractor? That's in the case of that they've alluded that they're looking for 3 bids, or if they're looking for me to be the 3rd bid, or if I'm the 2nd bid. What is it that you're looking from a contractor that you haven't found yet that's giving you cause to keep searching? Something along those lines. Now I can find out what their pain points are, what they're looking for. Case in point, this morning I had a lead call. It's a residential repaint in my area. They wound up having to remove the cladding on the house, on the front of the house, because on the front it had a board and batten, and on the sidewalls and on the rear it's just straight concrete block. It's been previously painted. It's an older home, but they wound up ripping off the cladding on the front, and they wound up having stucco on it instead. Now they're wanting to have the home painted because this is a new surface and they need it done so that they can go ahead and close out any bills or just close out the job and move on with their lives after having the stucco and the siding redone on the front. So she had informed me that she spoke to several other painters and they were, they had made comments about this, that, or the other thing. And I posed that question to her. I said, well, what are you looking for from a contractor that's causing you to keep looking that you haven't found yet? And you'd be surprised if you get quiet at that point, what a client will say. This client in particular stated that she's looking for someone that can return a phone call. She claimed that the contractors, the painters that she spoke to in the past aren't returning her phone calls. They don't pick up the phone. And then she wants a job well done, that she invested money into this property, into her home, and she wants it to be beautiful, but most importantly, she wants it to be done right. Lucky for us, in construction, typically, if it doesn't look right, it ain't right. So when it is right, it does look beautiful. So that's an advantage. So these are all now things that during my sales presentation, I can focus on with this client and let them know, hey, this is our process. So let's go ahead and continue this conversation that I had with this client this morning. So what I found is my next step for my sales presentation is once I've asked them, or once I've coordinated with them over the phone as far as next steps, which is booking an appointment if they'd like me to come out and book an appointment, or to do an estimate sales presentation. That's the next step. Now, another thing that I've learned over the years is to have them invest a little bit of their time in order to help pre-qualify a client. How do I do that? So what I've done is I've utilized a great resource, which is my own website. So what I'll do is I'll tell the client, here's the process going forward. I'm available in 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever that time point is, to come out and do to do a proposal for you. Now, what I need from you is you go to our website, and I already have in my notes section on my phone, I have a text message that's already written out. Thank you so much. Here, I'll read it to you. It literally says, thank you for reaching out. Please visit www.thepaintphd.com and click the Contact Us page. From there, fill out the contact form along with some pictures of your project. We can discuss next steps after submittal. So now I've given them homework to do. If a client isn't going to go, which if they found me on Google, if they're not going to click 2 buttons and type in their info, then that kind of helps me to know whether or not they were really serious about this project in the first place. So giving the client a little bit of homework, making them invest into your process, helps to pre-qualify clients. I have a very good, I don't get any backlash. I get very good feedback. And the clients who don't follow up with it, then that's on them. The ball's in their court. They weren't really that serious, and I don't need to waste my time or spend my time chasing them or going to their house when they clearly weren't serious enough to just fill out a contact form for me. The other nice thing about having a client go to your website and fill a contact form is it helps you rank on Google. That's right. This is a free click to your website that a client is not only going to be able to, not only directed to go to your homepage, but click further into your website to help you rank as an authority in your area, and will only help your SEO rankings. This is an awesome trick. Awesome trick. So if you're already getting people coming in and they're stopping at the Google page when they find you, have them click on your website. It can only help drive your SEO. So once they've filled that out, the other benefit is now I have all of my leads, my possible leads, in one spot. The contact form fills and it sends an email to a specific email address that I receive. And that's the only way, those are the only emails that I receive in that inbox. So now I'll never lose a contact. I'll never lose a potential lead going forward. You ever wind up writing down someone's information in a notebook or in your calendar or in a text message or in Google Notes or in, in your inbox, whether it's Messenger, social media, whatever the case is, only to wait 24 hours or even 12 hours to reach out to them and to type this and put it into your system, but you forget where you put it? Or even worse, you lose it completely. Now you're going through your phone log and trying to figure out. Stop all that. Just have the client fill out your contact form, direct them to your website, to the main page of the website. From there, click to your Contact Us page and fill out the form. Everything will be populated in one area so that you can get the information on your time when you're ready. So now we have the client's information. Once I receive that entry form from them, I shoot them a quick text message, just says, hey, we've received, again, we're going back to the communication piece. We've received your contact form submittal, and then I'll confirm a date and time for that booked appointment. Super simple. So now that we have all of that information, I want to share with you, I wound up finding on YouTube. I'll have to find the link and I'll try to share it. If anybody, how about this? If anybody is interested in finding this lead tracking, or in this lead tracking sheet, just send me a message and I'll send you a link to the video that I watched and wound up getting this download from. It was a free download. There are a few errors in the code, and I can do my best to help you to make that happen, or to fix those. But let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. So this is a lead tracking sheet that I received on YouTube. The nice thing about it is we go through the dates. This is the actual information. I've been tracking every lead since the beginning of the year. That was one of the things that I wanted to change about my business and being more professionalized, was tracking every single lead so that I know when I am spending money on a lead source that I can actually track the ROI on it. So here we go. So these are a couple of them came out of order because this is new to me. This is a new process to me, but it's organized by date. Then you have lead sources. The cool thing about the lead sources is you can pre-populate them, and then you just have them in a drop-down box. And this is super important when we go to check the overview later on. So this one, Debbie, was a referral from a previous client, Rothman. You can put the email and phone number in here. I use QuickBooks as my CRM for what it's worth. So I felt like at this stage it was redundant, and it's not like this is auto-populating my CRM. So if you want to put that information in here, you can. I choose not to, but I also think that it's very important to at least put the city or the town that they're in here. Now, in the notes section, if you notice, I've got different notes for all of these. Like for example, Kimberly from church, she lives in Winter Park. She's holding off for now. We wound up trying to make an appointment. So at that point, I would type made appointment for such and such a date. And then some stuff happened on her end, on my end. We weren't able to meet up. Now she's wanting to hold off for now. Here's another one. We've got Michael from New Smyrna. He moved on, didn't want, we had scheduled the time. He wound up finding somebody who was able to get out there quicker, and he needed the job done right away, so he moved on. Here's another one. Kelly, we had gotten an email from her, so I assumed it was from a website in Lake Helen. And then when I reached out to her, she just ghosted me. So I don't know if it was false information, but also looking at the property appraiser website, it was very easy to find out that the name that was given to me was not the owner. So I just wrote that down as a false lead. Now let's look at some of the ones that we've actually won. So we have Matt. He was referred by our client Skillman. He's in Oviedo. I quoted him for $1,800. He accepted the bid at $1,800. It's confirmed. We have a deal. Follow up 3-1 because March 1st, today is February 27th. March 1st is a week out from when we're starting that job. Same thing over here. We have Marion. She was referred to us by one of our referral partners here locally. I love working with other painting contractors. If there's things that I can't do or get to, I can give them stuff. And this company in particular, they don't do fine finish work, so they send me all of their cabinet leads, and it just works out very well for both of us. So we have Marion in Longwood. I quoted her $4,500. She accepted it for $4,500. We confirmed it. We have a deal, and it is scheduled. So What do you do with all of this information on a month-to-month basis? If you look at the bottom here, you have January, February, all the months, and this is a template or the sales tracking sheet that I'm using for 2023. Let's look at the overview. Here's a really cool breakdown. So remember earlier I said that you could get all of those referral lead sources from, or all the lead sources from a drop-down box. This is where you get it from, right here. So you can put all the different sources that you have. As you wind up adding more, you can add more lines to here. And the cool thing is it'll tell you how many total leads that you have, how many total sales that you've closed on this. So these, for me, this is jobs sold, not necessarily jobs completed. It'll also give you a breakdown of what these revenue centers, what percentage they're holding. So if you're investing a bunch of money in Facebook ads and you're not seeing any return, black and white right there. All right. I heard a saying one time that a company said that they knew that 90% of their advertising or their marketing didn't work. They just didn't know which 90%. Don't be that company. Know where your revenue's coming from. And then over here in January, on this bottom page, we can see the total leads, the amount of closed leads. Now, those closed leads will check off on the monthly page when you put deal or no deal. I do have to do a follow-up with Wendy from DeLand. I sent out a proposal. I have not heard back from her. So I need to do a follow-up with her. So I will put here 2/28/23, which is tomorrow for me, or yesterday for you guys if you're listening to this when this goes live. Or I'm sorry, that would be Tuesday for when this goes live, that I'll have followed up with her and I'll either put deal or dead on that, which I think I'm going to change that to no deal. It just sounds cooler. So going back to the overview, that one deal with Wendy is the only one that's open, and that's the revenue that we've generated based on closed leads from the month of January. February seems a little light, but if you look over here, we have 5 open leads, and I'm confident that out of the leads that I have for February, that some of them will close, but they are looking to make decisions the first week of March. So there's just a little fluff in there, or a little gap in there. Really cool system. I really like how all of this lead tracking goes, and it makes it super easy. So no other way to say it besides that it's just super easy to use. So that's my sales system. So we start off with the phone call. We ask qualifying questions, and those are based on the information that is given. And then once we get qualifying questions, we direct the client. We set an appointment over the phone, direct the client, or we set an appointment window over the phone, either this week, next week. Then I direct the client to go to the website. Once they fill out the form, then we confirm an appointment via text message. That way they know that I received the email. They check that box, and then I go out, make the appointment, all the while tracking everything in the lead tracking sheet. I really hope that this helped. This is a tool that has been a game changer for me. I hate that word, game changer, but it really has. It's made things a lot more organized. I haven't forgotten about a single lead for these first 2 months, which when you're getting a flow like what I feel like I'm getting right now, and it's only picking up on top of actually completing the work and busy life, It's nice to have everything in one area so that you can be as successful as you want to be. Again, I really hope this helped. If you want this spreadsheet, just shoot me a DM and I can go ahead and send you a link for that. If not, I'd love to see what you're using for your sales process. Let me know with a voice message or something like that. Let me know what you're using for your sales process, what's working for you, and I'd love to have that conversation. So maybe there's something that you're doing that I can implement into mine. So I thank you for your time. Again, this is the Pain Points Podcast, and I hope you guys have a great week.